Hello beautiful people, welcome back to yet another video on the channel. Last video we did was about the things that you need to know before you make a plan as a photographer to travel India. This video is about when you land in India, what are the things that you need to take care of. India might be single-handedly one of the most photographed countries on the planet. What I really want you to realize that as much as you have the beautiful photos here, if you're not careful enough, you might land in trouble the very next second of your first shot. Things in India while photographing escalate quite rapidly, from a moment where you're capturing the most beautiful portrait to getting hassled by the crowd or getting chased down for money, or you suddenly landed up in a place where photography isn't quite allowed. Everywhere you point your camera, there's a beautiful shot. Here are the few things that nobody tells you about, but as an insider, as a person who lives here, I might have an insight that I would like to share. First thing you need to know that there are few places in India that you really can't photograph, and they are really strictly prohibited, like all the government buildings that we see, certain railway stations, certain bridges. At our Howrah Bridge, there's a signboard which says photography is strictly prohibited. Currently, I'm in this building of General Post Office of Kolkata, which is one of the most beautiful colonial buildings that we have. And I wouldn't try to get into this building in order to photograph because I don't want to get confronted for just one shot. But there are few things that I can take care of, because right now it's only 6 a.m. here and the building's open. It's just amazing access to be in here, and I can just photograph because not a lot of people are working. Also, anywhere where you see army or border security forces or the government officials working, they really don't enjoy getting photographed that much. This is what I would really take care of in order to avoid the trouble that I can land in while I'm photographing in India. But Howrah Bridge is one of the most photographed locations in Kolkata. Reason, because it's so beautiful. And you can just walk and take photos, and if somebody asks you, or a government official, a police asks you to delete the photo, you just delete and move on. They won't hassle you that much, but you need to be really careful. बस 1 मिनट, 30 सेकंड में चला जाएगा, हो गया. हाँ. I was just about to finish this section of the video, and one of the guys who work here, he came and he said like, you can't shoot here, you need to leave. And I was like, I just need 30 seconds or 1 more minute in order to finish this section. And he was like, yeah, just finish it and then you can leave. So it's just the perfect example. That's how it goes here. Next key point that I want to talk about as a humanitarian photographer, you really need to know how Indians exactly feel being photographed. In many cities which are bigger, like Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, all these cities, people are much more used to the cameras because they are used to tourists. A lot of the people visiting these cities, they want to see the markets, they want to see the streets. So people already know that this is a thing. But when you travel to the rural parts of India, which is much more conservative and relaxed, photographing a women or children can land you in some sort of trouble. The intention of the Indians is not to put you in trouble. It's just in those villages, people don't understand why you are taking a photo. One of my biggest issues that I have with photography that I'm not being able to solve is I wish I had a method, I wish I had something to make people understand why I do what I do. I try to tell them that they look really beautiful. I try to tell them that people who live in big cities or people who are traveling in India, they are not used to looking at this beautiful culture, this beautiful color of the sari and dresses, faces, everything. But once I make them understand this, or once I spend a little bit time with them, the door just opens. So just jumping into a room or in a village or on a street and straight photographing it can come across really rude in rural parts of India. So what I would suggest for you is to read the room. What's the energy in there? How people are smiling. If they are curious, talk to them. Just say hello, hi, how are you? Maybe in Hindi, and then you can just read the camera. I think shoving up a camera in someone's face exactly in the second you showed up is the biggest way to get yourself kicked out of a scene. One of the things that I always get asked is, how do I get all those portraits where people are looking right in my camera and you feel that I have a beautiful connection with that person who's in photograph? I feel as a foreigner, when you take photo in India, you have more chances of getting that connection than me being local, because people in big cities are generally very curious about what you're doing. And the tricks that I can give you is, you don't have to know Hindi completely in order to build that connection. It just happens, you know. Sometimes sometimes you just need to say, "Aap kaise ho?" "Hello, sir. This is a beautiful shop." Just basics, you know. And then one of my tricks that always goes in hand is you just like show your camera and you smile, "Can I take a photo?" So you just show the camera and smile and you put your camera up there. 99% of the time it just works yes. People generally are so curious to get photographed, they will let you enter into their space, into their shop, wherever they're working, and then you can photograph. Sometimes the guy will call his whole family because they are looking from somewhere like a window or you know what's going on, and then you can photograph the whole family. I think building this connection, the process of getting to know those people is photography, and the moment you get that connection built and you make a photo or a portrait, you feel super proud, and it's a photo that you can cherish when you go back home. The fourth point that I want to emphasize is to be really careful and respectful around the religious sites in India. A lot of the times there are so many places which are considered to be temples in India, and you won't be able to understand it because you don't have understanding about the culture and religion. Like I would just see this place. I'm walking down here and I see this white structure which I know 100% because I'm Hindu, so I know that this is a temple. But a lot of the foreigners, they make this mistake that they don't see, they see just a beautiful shape and color, and they would try to photograph, and what they're gonna do, maybe some people just step on these things, and which is highly disrespectful. You cannot step on anything like that. You need to take out your shoes and then go really close to it, because in any Hindu temple you cannot go inside with shoes. A lot of the time what happens in India, you will see a tree and there's few stones around the tree and there's a small structure built. Those places generally are temples. I will put down some photos up here so that you have better understanding that. And as you all know that India varies so much. There's so much variety here, whether in terms of culture or religions. If I'm going to a mosque, the thing that I will be really careful as a man, that I need to wear full pants because you cannot go in shorts into the mosque, and if you are a woman, you need to cover your head while you're going into the mosques. Next point that I want to emphasize is know your rules for paying for photos. I think when you travel to major touristy cities of India like Pushkar, Jaipur, Varanasi, Delhi, and you see few things which you really want to take photo as a foreign tourist, like snake charmers, sadhus, and people working on the streets. I think those people are up there in order to get the money from tourists for their time and for their photo, which is okay, which I completely agree with, because everybody needs to be paid for their time. What you need to be careful is how you communicate that thing with these people. I feel if it's communicated beforehand and both the parties agree on this, that's the best way to work with it. Otherwise, it's always going to change in the end and you both will end up getting into the argument, which you really need to avoid while you're photographing in India. While the scene for me as a street photographer is very different, I have a different set of rules for myself. Because I'm a candid photographer, I take street images while people are working or there's an action, or I'm not disturbing anyone because I already know my composition, what light and color I have. I'm just waiting for something to happen there. In this scene, you're not wasting anyone's time. You are not trying to be in connection with anyone. So you don't have to pay anybody around you. But whenever I take someone's time, I really make sure that I give them something. Generally, if you take someone's 5 minutes, you should give them 50 rupees. And if you take someone's 10 minutes, you should pay them 100 rupees. I think that's generous and it will put a smile on the person that you're photographing. The next point, which is the most important point of the video, at least for me, is you really need to be respectful and take care of the privacy of women and children while photographing in India. Generally, in rural areas, photographing women can cause anger and a lot of suspicion towards you, but there are ways where you can bypass it by asking someone from the family, asking a male member of the family, and then make your connection and then photograph it. One of the things that I noticed from few of the foreigners who are photographing in India is they tend to photograph the women taking shower in the river. I generally don't do it because I'm Indian and all these ladies are my mothers and sisters. I would always question myself before I photograph. You can argue that it's a public place and then you can photograph. It all comes down and boils down to ethics that you have for your personal photography. I generally don't do it because I have much more other frames to show. Now comes the part of photographing children in India. You can mostly photograph kids in India. I generally don't do it because I'm not a huge fan of it. But if there's a place where kids are playing, like let's say cricket, soccer, whatever, if there's a lot more action going on and there's so many kids involved, I would just get in there and play with them and make my connection and then photograph them. I think those are the photos that I really enjoy. Moving on to the things that I would personally not photograph in India. The poverty that is photogenic opportunity for you is someone's true life, you know, and I really don't photograph those things. What I try to do is if I see someone lying down on the street, if I see someone who's drunk and passed out, if I see someone peeing on the street, a kid who's not in a great state, or the people living on the street, I don't call that street photography, and I don't generally photograph it. My words might come across really strong, but yeah, that's what I believe in, and my values for photography is super strong. I'm no one to say what you should photograph or what you should not photograph. I think it all boils down to your own ethics. It all boils down to how you would want your photos to look like, or the world to see your images and interpret it. Personally, I have a very basic rule for myself. Someone taught me this when I was just a beginner photographer, and I'm super grateful to that person. I also had this question, and the way he answered, if you can't be the subject of your photo, you cannot take that photo. Imagine me lying down somewhere or me eating on the street. If somebody comes up and takes a photo, would I enjoy it? If I enjoy it, if I would like that photo to be there, I would definitely photograph it. And this is, I think, a very good way to evaluate what are the things that you can photograph or you can't photograph. As we are approaching to the end of the video, I just want to throw down quick tips that you can follow while you are here. I would always suggest you guys to hire a fixer or a photography guide, not just a tourist guide. Generally, tourist guides are at the tourist sites like Taj Mahal, Amer Fort, and anywhere you see historical places. A photography fixer or a guide knows everywhere where the photo opportunities are. They are the one who have all this value, and they are the one who can understand the energy on the street and can help you. If you want to hire someone like that, please contact us, because my team has some of the most amazing fixers and photography guides in all across India. Next quick tip is, if you're trying to carry a drone, just so you know, there are places you can fly drone in India, which most of the places you can. Just need to be really careful where you take off because of the safety measures, but there are places where you cannot fly drone, especially Taj Mahal. Just so you know, you are under a very secure region and army is really strong around Taj Mahal, so don't try to fly drone up there. Next one is always back your data. I would always suggest you guys to back your data every single day while you come back to hotel. Don't leave it for the next day or by the end of the trip, or wait for your card to get full and then you back up. No, you need to back up your data every single day. If you can have a double backup of it, it's going to be super nice. The another quick pointer about India is the weather here is really very challenging and it's very diverse. Like right now I'm in Kolkata and it's super humid. Mumbai is also very humid, but Delhi is dry. So I would always take good care of the cameras, like cleaning it. Always carry a cleaning kit for your cameras because it's very dusty out here. Carry a camera cleaning kit in your bag. Also, carrying a microfiber cloth in your pocket would be a clutch move, because you're gonna have dust on your lens and you can clean it every single time that you want. So that's probably it for today. Thank you so much, guys, like always, for watching the video. Me and my team is eternally grateful for all the love and support that we get every single video. And if you want to travel India as a photographer, feel free to contact us. We would love to have you guys on one of the trips that we curate. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.